So I hope the audio on this video is going to be okay, because I'm actually doing it from inside a restaurant. So please excuse the background noise. You know, there's some music playing, but so what I'm doing in this video is I'm going to do a little thing about one of the comments that Darth made, and I've also did a video of this pretty recently, I think maybe 3 weeks ago. But Darth had made the comment that he learned everything about philosophy by studying himself. And I want to show just how he ends up really hurting himself. In fact, he's made a point several times, many times, that he's been doing this for either 10 or 12 years. And, you know, he says that as if it is a strong point. Not only is it not a strong point in his case, it's really, I think, the worst thing that has happened, as far as he is actually, in the course of time, defeated his own worldview. And so if you look at his worldview in context, since the time that he's been doing debates or since he's been online, he has defeated himself according to his own worldview. Now, I'm going to show an example, just one example, of where he talks about, you know, he admitted that everything that he knows about philosophy, he learned on his own. And then after I play that clip, I'm going to play another clip. And, well, first, let's hear the first clip.
You're a philosophy grad student, okay? I'm not a philosophy grad student. I've never even gotten a BA in philosophy, okay? Whatever I know about philosophy, I've learned from reading on myself. And you're playing the dumb card.
Okay, now the next one is where he was actually corrected by a philosopher on one of the things that he said. He was talking about the uniformity of nature, and this was in his debate with Dr. 𝐍𝐎𝐓. And Dr. 𝐍𝐎𝐓 corrected him on one of the terms that Darth was using. Here's that clip.
They may or they may not be. That's something that I really don't know.
Okay, so how do you know that the uniformity of nature is real?
I don't.
Okay, but you're asserting it as though it is.
I said nothing whatsoever about the uniformity.
You said the laws of physics. The laws of physics would be the same thing as saying the uniformity of nature.
I did not say that. You said that.
Yeah. Reporting it. Now, in order for the laws of nature to be real, something in and of itself must be invariant that imposes and sustains the continuity, otherwise known as the laws of nature. Are we clear on that before we move on?
Okay, so that was just one example where Darth has gotten himself into trouble. And he often uses these terms interchangeably. He'll use, especially, well, in the case of what I'm doing right now, he uses terms like uniformity of nature, causality, laws of nature, laws of physics, those terms, he uses them interchangeably. And he has even came out several times and said that this term is another way of saying another term. Now I'm going to play a couple clips to let you listen to
that. Say it again.
What is it that is absolute and unchanging or invariant that institutes and secures the continuity known as laws of nature?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Now, when we talk about physics, that's just a fancy way of talking about continuity. Now, establish that there are laws of nature.
I don't know if there are laws of nature, but
you just did. You just said there were.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You said the uniformity of nature is the same thing as saying laws of nature in physics. uniformity of nature.
Well, at least the laws of nature.
Well, the uniformity of nature, the laws of nature are synonyms for each other.
Correct.
And I'll just leave you with this. When Lawrence Krauss said, we don't need God, we can explain everything through the laws of nature. This is what he said. We don't need God. We can explain everything through the laws of nature. And I took him at his word. And I said, well, Dr. Krauss, what is it that is fundamental and ultimate, that institutes and secures what's possible and impossible? And he says, I don't know. So guess what? He was contradicting himself. He was lying when he said that he could explain everything through the laws of nature. Because if he could, when I asked him, what is it that's fundamental and ultimate? He goes, well, I don't know. And then he got angry because he says, why does that even matter? Well, why does it matter, Dr. Krauss? Because you told me you could explain everything through the laws of nature. But you didn't do that when I asked you what is ultimate. You said you didn't know. Okay?
I appreciate that. I'm going to have to go.
Okay, so if you listen to that, you heard Darth. He was critiquing Lawrence Krauss, and Darth has already said that the laws of nature are another way of saying continuity. Okay, so now he was critiquing Lawrence Krauss about that. Now, if you notice, I put a big red asterisk on that part where Darth said, he claimed that Lawrence Krauss said, we don't need God. Okay, I'm going to come back to that at the end of this video, and you'll see the reason why. But one of the interesting claims about that, I went back and I looked and I listened to the original video, and nowhere in the original video does Lawrence Krauss say, we don't need God. Nowhere is that found.
I told you what he
I'm
said.
not going to go by what you say. I'm going to ask the man himself. He's here.
Okay, good. And you just confirmed that I was correct. This is how poorly Ask an Atheist Sydney reasons.
Now, why do you say that? Well, let's hear your argument against it.
Because you believe induction can give you answers of certainty.
I said that physics is the same everywhere in the universe. Why is that not correct?
I didn't say that was not correct. I said you can't substantiate that.
So it is correct.
No.
And if it is correct, why should I substantiate it?
Yeah, if you're not saying
okay, you see what I'm dealing with here, Dex? I'm dealing here with adults who have the mind of teenagers.
Well, do you think that's a correct or incorrect statement? That
Okay, it is an unsubstantiated claim that Sydney has made that physics is the same everywhere.
What do you think?
Well, what I think is that the Christian God exists, and He has revealed Himself, and He has revealed that He has made it. Okay. Well, I don't know that physics is the same everywhere in the universe. But what I.
Okay, so if you listen to that, there you can see that Darth was saying, I don't know, to the basically, according to Darth, the same question that Lawrence Krauss said or answered when Lawrence Krauss said, I don't know. They both answered the same way. Now, let's see what Darth says about that. Because the question now is, what has Darth went on record as saying? What are the ramifications of that? If someone does not, or if somebody answers that question with, I don't know. Because Darth has addressed this on at least a couple of occasions, explaining what are the ramifications of that. Let's listen to that.
Either continuity exists, you will identify directly or indirectly that it exists, or you don't. Now, if you do not claim that there's continuity, then you have no basis for intelligibility, because your very capacity to speak is going to require the precondition of continuity.
Okay, now, do you remember earlier in the video when I brought up that thing about the big red asterisk? That was the part where Darth had accused Lawrence Krauss of saying, we don't need God. Now, listen to this clip, because that is exactly what Darth is going to mention here in this following clip. Listen to this.
Including the unity and diversity in existence. If you say that God is not needed, then the question is there actual continuity in existence amongst all of the diversity of particulars? Because without any continuity, right, without regularity and uniformity, you're not going to be able to make sense of things. So